Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest in the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to Apply. All right, so today I have Jennifer Woodward on the line, and she's Executive Director of the Association of Functional Diagnostic Nutrition Practitioners. Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Hey, Adam, that is a lot of words. You said them so well.
Hey, I'm in, and don't worry, we'll go to FDN for short, but I had to get that first one out, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So excited to have you on. I mean, in the past, for those that have been watching this show for a long time, maybe they've caught some of the previous interviews that I did with Reed, who's the founder of FDN, and some of the work that he's done in documenting the story. And today, I mean, Reed was telling me, you have to have Jennifer on the show. So I'm excited to get in there and to learn more about, your role, what your vision of FDN is as well. And the overall topic really is the 5 ways that FDN can help you with the 5 freedoms you want in your practice. So we'll talk about that as well for practitioners. But just to get us started, we'll start this episode off the way that we start them all with our Mission Matters Minute. So Jennifer, we at Mission Matters, we amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. That's our mission. Jennifer, what mission matters to you?
Thanks, Adam. Thanks for having me today. So the mission that matters to me is to empower women not to need another practitioner. And I don't want them going from, health coach to doctor to chiropractor to naturopath and continue to look for answers to some of the health issues that they've been having. So on my own entrepreneurial business side, that's my mission. And then also as AFDNP director, I kind of share the same mission. I want to do the same thing for my grads at AFDNP, where we are empowering our practitioners not to need another business training program, not to need another clinical training course, to really be, like I said, empowered and confident in what they have to offer the world.
It's great. And I love bringing mission-based entrepreneurs on the line to share, why they do what they do, how they're doing it, and really how we can all learn and benefit and grow together from that information and knowledge. So great to have you on. I guess just to get us kicked off, how did this entrepreneurial journey start for you? Were you always an entrepreneur, or how did that start for you?
I was thinking about this, and yes, I have always been an entrepreneur. So growing up, my family didn't have a lot of money. My sisters and I pretty much relied on each other to stay busy and active. And I have these early memories of dragging my red flyer wagon behind me with little plastic baggies full of mistletoe that my sisters and I were going to share or try to sell to our neighbors. In the summer, we'd drag our wagon with lemons and oranges from our tree. And thank God for these neighbors who would open up their door every time and hand over 50 cents, give us a smile. But ever since I was a little girl, I was just passionate about creating and giving back. And do say that, it was pretty nice to get that 50 cents jangling in my pocket as an 8 or 9-year-old too.
Oh my gosh. First off, that's hilarious. I love it. You got your wagon. I can just picture the neighbors oh, there they come. Come on. we're buying something today, right?
Yep. And that it really never stopped. I just always loved getting to, like I said, just getting to produce and give back. I'm a big consumer too. I love to read. I love to learn, but there was a point in my life where I thought, I want to do something. I want to give back too. So as my kids were born and as I was a stay-at-home mom for a period of time, I had, home-based businesses. I would sew and sell baby slings to different, stores in town and on Etsy. And that passion never really stopped for me.
So, a lot of entrepreneurs watch this show and they're looking for tips and they're looking for advice and they're looking for, whatever that edge is that lets somebody go from maybe having something that, maybe didn't work quite so well to grew over time. What would you say are some of the things that have helped you along the way in your entrepreneurial career?
It's probably a cliche, but I don't give up. If you tell me no, I'm just going to find another way around it. Just ask my husband. So if any point in my business, I'd get shut down by, one avenue, I really am passionate about pursuing another avenue to get to where I want to get to, because I have a goal and tend to work backwards. And so that's another tip I have too. I like to look out and see, what does the future look like in my mind's eye? And what are the steps that I need to take to work backwards from where I am right now to get to where I want to be in the future?
What do you think helps contribute to that, not giving up mindset? Because I know nobody intuitively wants to quit anything unless it's harmful for them, right? Then they want it. But I mean, when it comes to businesses, it's hard to let go. I'll pick on myself for a moment. I'm probably 20 business. If we're counting back to the red wagon days, I didn't have a red wagon, but I'm trying to figure, I had like a bike for sure.
Right.
And I'm sure I sold something, and that was, I'm sure I did, whether it was mowing grass or something. What do you think kind of contributes to your ability to stick with something? Like, what do you think helps you?
I think that being open and curious is very helpful. I think a love for people can be really helpful because I know a lot of people have reasons to be scared, but I'm not scared of people. So I enjoy conversations. I enjoy getting to know backstories. And I think having an open, mind and open heart with different people that you're exposed to can be a really big benefit in business. And I also think that, just having that passion and drive, always being curious about the next step. What can I learn? Who can I learn from? Who can I align myself with to really grow, my business or my personal life? I think community can be really, really powerful for business growth.
Yeah, I'm on the same page with you on this one. Like feeding yourself, like you mentioned, you like to read a lot and you like books. Like for me, it's always been like new knowledge, like just that thought of like, okay, if something's not working, there's probably a reason why, and it's possible to solve this if it's meant to be solved, right? Or if it's a problem that's worth solving. So just like feeding your brain and like just going at it, like that's one of mine too. Like, yeah, if I'm not mentally entertained, I'm like, things can get stale, and it can be hard when you're an entrepreneur, especially if you're you're already past, what is it, the ideation phase, the excitement of the idea. And now you've maybe executed a little bit, and now you have a little bit of traction, and now you're going through the idea of endless execution until you get to that next level that you want to hit, right? Which isn't always the sexiest, right? Like you have to, sometimes people talk about like interviewing or things or what we do here. And I'm like, I'm over 5,000 interviews in. Are you kidding me? Like, do you think that, interview 1,000 when nobody's watching, that's an easy thing? Like you just keep going and you figure out what's going to work for you. I want to jump around here a little bit before we go further into the freedoms that you mentioned for practitioners, and also I want to get into some other things you're doing. I think you have a mastermind and just a lot of different ways that you've managed to build community within your practitioners, and you find new ways to add value. But I think we should pause for a moment, especially for those that aren't familiar with FDN. Maybe tell us a little bit more about the company, please.
Absolutely. So as you know, I started out as an FDN practitioner. So that's part of my backstory too. My son had health issues. I had my own health issues. We went to doctor after doctor and we couldn't find answers. So one day I found FDN on YouTube and I was able to go back to school. I was homeschooling my kids and became an FDN practitioner. So I have had this love for FDN for the past 7 or 8 years. And an opportunity came up for me to interview for a position at FDN. What I do now is run our graduate side of the program. So we have the trainee or certification course, and now we have the graduate course. And what we do in the certification course is we bring cutting edge functional lab work to our practitioners that they can learn, become experts in, and start using with their own clients. So we have people who have become, were health coaches in the past. We have doctors, we have chiropractors, we have people who I have a used car salesperson formerly working for Honda and now is a successful FDN practitioner. So people all walks of life who are just passionate about learning all they can about anatomy, physiology, the lab work, but really how to help people who haven't been able to be helped yet.
For those that are watching, we did some really long, deep dives into the science of it and also, what it means to be and to use FDN on that if you're going through something. But I do want to at least skim the surface on that. So maybe tell us a little bit about the idea or the principles behind like testing and what that means.
So what we like to say, test, don't guess at functional diagnostic nutrition. So most people have at least a cursory awareness of their health and what it looks like to dive into diet and rest and exercise, stress management, supplements. But a lot of times people are just throwing up spaghetti at the wall and hoping something sticks. We've all seen the ad on Instagram for the next cool supplement. We've seen Everlywell at-home blood testing. There's so many different avenues that you can go into to look for deeper answers to your health issues. But what FDN does is synthesize all of that for you. So we do have these functional lab tests that we are we train our practitioners to become experts in these tests and teaching and training their clients, because we're not doctors. We don't diagnose, treat, or prescribe, but we are, helping our clients dig deeper into the chronic health issues that have led them again from practitioner to practitioner. And Reed calls it this endless cycle of trial and error. You try this, it fails. You try another thing, it fails. You're just stuck in that loop. And so getting these, these lab tests into the hands of our clients, and honestly, Adam, seeing people's faces when they, get their lab tests back, and I've had women sit in my office and cry. They're like, I knew something was wrong with me. Everyone told me I was crazy, but I actually have answers here in black and white. Like, this is life-changing information. I hear that
Yeah.
all the time, and so do our other practitioners.
And what I like to kind of elaborate on here, maybe have you elaborate a little bit more, is the idea of that test, don't guess, like philosophy.
Sure. I love it. Well, again, I mean, raise your hand if you've tried the keto diet. Raise your hand if you've tried being a vegan. Raise your hand if you've tried carnivore. We've tried, Adam's like, yep, we've tried all these things. Everyone's done CrossFit. Everyone's done Orange Theory, right? We've done all of these interventions where it worked for your mom, it worked for your grandfather, it worked for your best friend. So you think it's going to work for you. And that is that, endless cycle of trial and error and the guessing. You're like, well, I hope this works. I plan on this working, but it doesn't actually work because you don't have that bio-individual data that your body is giving up that's just for you. And that's really where things start, changing. That's where the tide starts turning. It's when we get that bio-individual data. It's deep. This is like next level stuff. And what we're doing with these tests is not looking for disease, because again, we're not doctors, we don't diagnose. We're looking for the disease that's coming, right? We're looking for markers of longevity and anti-aging and some of the things that are kind of percolating in the different systems of the body, your hormone, endocrine, immune system, detoxification system, digestive system. There can be all these imbalances that have been growing for decades, really, for a lot of our clients. And getting access to that lab testing gives us, that puts us off of the guesswork and really gives us some of the hard things that we can focus on to bring balance back to the body as quickly as possible.
If I'm understanding this correctly, then our bodies, well, first off, all our bodies we know completely unique, and what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for the next person. We know that. So our bodies are giving us these signals or these markers, and they're letting us know what's wrong or where there's opportunity, right? And then by doing the testing, you're essentially reading those markers or reading that data to then allow the individual to then make some changes. Am I kind of getting it right?
Totally have the nail on the head. That's so true. And honestly, like sometimes it's not just things that, are percolating. There actually are specific imbalances that are happening at that time, some gut infections or some really strong food sensitivities. I always bring out my food sensitivity card with people to show them, look, I'm super sensitive to avocados. I was eating a stinking avocado every single day. And wow. The brain fog was so bad. Who would have thought, we all think avocado health food, but looking at that test result, I'm like, oh, nuts. I guess I need to take it out of my diet.
Can you give me maybe another example or so? And for everybody watching, again, we're not diagnosing. In order to get one-on-one advice, of course, we'll be putting some links in the show notes so that you can follow up, of course. But just to, to wrap our heads around what this could look like. Because for somebody that's never been through testing, they don't know what it is, right?
Okay, I love this question because as you can tell, I'm a data nerd. So getting these tests back every single day for my clients, it's like Christmas. My own personal area of niching is women's health and hormones. So perimenopause, a lot of women who have period issues. So one of the tests I like to run looks at women's hormones. And oftentimes I'll have women come to me with infertility issues. They've been through hormone replacement therapy. They've been through in vitro fertilization. They've been through, sometimes decades of heartbreak. And I can run a test. I've got one we call the Dutch test, which is the dried urine test for comprehensive hormones. And we're able to see in black and white, wow, look at how low your progesterone levels are. And progesterone is needed to create a baby. It's shortened from the three words progestation hormone, progesterone. And so if you don't have enough progesterone, your body has too much estrogen, it's not very likely that you're going to be ovulating and therefore being able to get pregnant. So out of the last year, I've had 5 clients come to me who have struggled with infertility, and Adam, 4 out of the 5 clients, by looking at some of these tests, progesterone, 4 out of 5 babies born in the last year. It is incredible.
Come on.
No joke. I'm not taking any credit for that. They put in all of the work, God gives the increase for sure, but honestly, it's a lot of work that the clients have to do, but they could never get there if they didn't have access to that information.
What would you do without the data, right?
You'd guess again. You go for another round of $20,000 in vitro fertilization and then have nothing happen again. It's awful.
That is awful. A great example. So now we have, an idea of what FDN is and a little bit about the process. Let's go on to maybe to the other side of FDN, which is really the business opportunity overall. As you mentioned, originally you went there for your son, right? To get some things diagnosed, insight on some challenges that he was having, I should say.
Yeah.
And so now that's where you became an advocate and then decided that this was going to be, part of your career as an entrepreneur. So tell me a little bit more about the business side of things.
Yeah, advocate is a great word. I love that you use that. And that's what we're doing on the business side of things. Like I said, we have people come to us at FDN certification course from all walks of life. They've done different things in their past professional history. And what we were seeing was that there was a disconnect between training these next level incredible practitioners. They've got all of the, biochemistry, anatomy, and physiology down, right? But then they've never been an entrepreneur. They've never started a business. They don't know if they need an LLC or a sole proprietorship. They don't know if they need a, business bank account. And they certainly don't know how to acquire clients online. We're seeing that our practitioners lacked confidence. That was our big word that kept coming up as we were doing market research within the community. And so we started really targeting, all of those little things that people need to become a successful FDN practitioner. And there are amazing business building courses out there. I've taken many of them, but specifically what we're doing at FDN is putting people into this program that trains them how to be a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. Because what we do, is very different from other health coaching certifications. And the reason I know that is because I do a lot of our post-grad interviews. So I have people, when they finish the FDN course, they come to me for an interview and I always ask them, what's your background? How did you find us? Why are you here? And I have people who've done, numerous other health coaching certifications who say, I knew that the last stop for me was going to be FDN. I knew I needed access to that. Labs really. But then again, they're stuck. Now what do I do? How do I make money as an FDN? So what we've done is created something called FDN Business School, which we say, can help you launch your business confidently in 90 days as an FDN practitioner. And it takes you through everything, start to finish, ordering those labs, how to do supplements, how to, build a landing page, how to bring clients to you via social media. And it's been really, really fun to see the feedback that we've gotten so far from our students. Now, that's the paid side. We also just have our professional side. So I run that association for our grads, and we've got so much content inside the association. We have live webinars that are happening almost every single day. We've got this Facebook that blows me out of the water. I spend an hour on that Facebook group moderating it every single day, and I learn new things every single day. I've got a running spreadsheet that I'm learning from my fellow practitioners just on how to be a better FDN. So business side of FDN has really ramped up over the last 2 years, and it's so exciting to see where it's going to go.
Tell me a little bit more about maybe some of the content. I want to move on to community as well, but I want to know more about some of the content side of things, especially under that business side, a business building portion of FDN, because I feel like a lot of times when entrepreneurs go out there, there's many different types of entrepreneurs, but a type of entrepreneur I feel can be really successful. And sometimes they're not because maybe they don't have the right support or the right infrastructure. Maybe they have to start from scratch, or they have this product all of a sudden. It's like, okay, go out and do it. And it's like, okay, but I've never done this, right? And it's hard to stick to something if you feel like over time that maybe you don't have the knowledge or the support to be successful. So tell me a little bit more about the content.
Great. And that's, again, what we were trying to do is figure out how to help people build up their confidence. So that the content, what we have is training people how to automate their FDN business. So if you've been a coach, if you've been a consultant, Adam, how much work it is to train your clients again and again and again on the exact same thing. So we spend, at least 2 months in business school training people how to automate all of their onboarding, all of their content, so that they're not feeling burnt out in their business. And that's a huge part of the business school, is making it much easier for the practitioner and more professional, a better, seamless experience for the client. We also do a lot of work in the online space. So, how to build an email list and set up a marketing campaign, set up a funnel, and whether or not do you actually need a website anymore, or is a landing page sufficient, right? How do you get out on social media confidently every day if all you have to talk about is bringing your scooter into your meeting?
Obviously, Jennifer watches my TikTok, right? Okay, fine. I bring my scooter everywhere with me. Go ahead.
So, and we know that you don't have to be perfect. We just want our practitioners to know and their clients to know that, hey, we're just real people who have a little bit more knowledge than you do, who can help you feel better and get better. And so that's what I try to train my students on is you don't have to be perfect, and social media is a great way to get that across to current and potential clients is you just have to be, confident in what you're doing. And, the business school content really provides that just with those specific steps. So a lot of the software that you need. I became a spreadsheet master creating this course, helping people do invoices and expenses and how to actually keep track of your clients and make sure that you're ordering the labs the right day and following up appropriately. We've got, exactly like a whole outline of what you would do in each client session for a period of 3 months, how to raise your prices, when to raise your prices, all the things that, basically every question I've ever been asked in the membership, I put into a lesson or a module in business school.
That is absolutely amazing. And the value behind that content, what you're doing, I like the fact that you got very granular just now, because that's what it takes to succeed. So all of this like trial and error and all the other practitioners, refresh my memory, over 2,000 or something like that. There's a lot of practitioners.
Yep. Represented in every continent in the world. Yes.
So all of this learning, all of this like data, everything else is getting funneled into the content that you're getting. So now you're not guessing like, should I be doing this? Should I not be doing that? And if you are, and you ask that question and it hasn't been asked yet, that's a good one, because I'm guessing you've gotten a lot of questions. So that might be a zinger, and then it's worth figuring out. So the main thing is it sounds to me like the community is growing together as well.
And that is a beautiful thing about FDN. What we get a lot of feedback on is our community is really next level. And that's something that everyone in, the administration and FDN is very passionate about. I think we're all very people-centered people. We enjoy community. We enjoy the relational aspect. And I really do think that grows a business, because what are our businesses except people, right? At the end of the day. And so, that community aspect is huge, both on the certification side, then on the graduate side. And honestly, even like for my own practice, and in my own life, those are the things that feed me and grow me as an entrepreneur.
So the Facebook group you mentioned for the practitioners, like that's not an easy thing to do, to get a Facebook group going and active in that manner. Like, what do you think some of your success or FDN success overall in keeping a really healthy, active, thriving community, not just on Facebook, but just in general?
Absolutely. So this is my mantra. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to show up. And this is business advice that I got once as I was growing my business is, when you're online, it's like your brick and mortar store. So if people expect my brick and mortar store to be open Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., I'm going to have to, give that corollary for my online presence too. Not that you have to be, constantly doing things, but you at least have to be aware and open. So it's been important for me to make sure that I'm online, connecting with my grads every single day, responding to comments, even if they're small, even if I've answered the question 85 other times, I still want to make sure that person who asked the question feels important, because it takes a lot of vulnerability, especially in a group. Our membership has over 600 members, 650 inside the Facebook group. So if you're a brand new practitioner, you're going to feel those heart palpitations, before you post your first question or your second question. And so it's important to me to make sure that everyone feels valued and appreciated and heard inside the community. And that does take a little bit of time throughout the day to do, but it's part of my job and something I'm passionate about anyway. So for my FDN job and then for my own personal practice, I really like all those touch points with people to make sure that they feel valued.
You mentioned people coming into your office and like people that have worked with you. Is this an opportunity that's also virtual as well? So meaning for the practitioners?
100%. So I would say most of our practitioners have a virtual option, if not only a virtual practice. And at this point in my life with my 4 kids at home, my practice is 100% virtual.
That's great. And when you think about opportunities and when you think about like time, one of the things that I like about the way that everything's set up, whether it's the community, whether it's the automation sides and that learning and all the things that go into that, like realistically, this allows the entrepreneur, the FDN practitioner to be able to have better control of their time and to choose when they want to work, and also to spend more time doing what I believe is kind of the joy, which is working directly with the client versus getting like caught up in other tasks that maybe aren't your favorite. Like if it's accounting, it's accounting. If it's something else, it's something else, right? So is that kind of the setup, or like give me a little bit more there?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because our practitioners, what they're passionate about is the data, the science, and the people. They do not want to worry about their business bank account. They do not want to worry about sending out an email, typing the same words for the 369th time, right? getting that automation in place for any business, not just
Right.
for FDNs, but for any business. The more you can automate, the better it's going to be for you to be able to give more, in your one-on-one sessions with clients. So for sure.
What kind of feedback have you heard from practitioners that you've worked with for a while? I want to get a kind of a feel from the other side of the table there.
Sure. So from, the practitioners that we're training, business school actually just launched in June. So we have
Congrats. That's big.
We have about 40 students right now, but we're looking to grow that, exponentially. And the feedback has been so awesome. And I, was hoping it would be, but I also sort of knew it would be, just because, like I said, I built it based on every question that I get asked all the time.
Wow.
So I knew, that people would be asking these questions over and over and over again, hence the automation. But it was almost like a gift to myself. Oh, I don't have to answer these questions, 100 times, right? So yeah, the feedback has been encouraging, just because people are like, I wanted a practical, hands-on, step-by-step way to start my business. There's a lot of theory in business, which is good. You should have some business theory, but putting boots to ground, knowing exactly on Monday, this is what I'm doing for my business. On Tuesday, I am taking care of this, right? They know exactly what to do to make sure that they're making forward progress in their business instead of being stuck. And the same thing is happening inside the AFDNP membership. We're giving clinical webinars based on these lab tests that we run, next level training. We're teaching you about these concepts that you're picking up on Instagram or, alternative health, show or something. We're diving into that for you so that you're confident in talking with your client about like the carnivore diet or about methylation or whatever it is. We're always looking to kind of stay one step ahead of the game so that practitioners feel like they are as wise as they possibly can be to make better progress with their clients.
It's awesome. It's great. First off, Jennifer, it's been great connecting with you and finally having you on the show. I feel like I've been trying to get you on the show for about a year now, so I'm glad I finally was able to connect. Got to ask, what's next for you? What's next for FDN?
Love this question. So for me, I am planning on launching Healthy Hormone University for my private clients and my community. That should be exciting. But for FDN, we are going to do some amazing things. We are going to start offering one-to-one business coaching, which is something our practitioners desperately need and want. And then we also have a mastermind in the works where you can sit down and learn from these practitioners they've grown amazing businesses. They've been so successful in this space. And isn't that the person that you just want to sit around the fire with? You just want to get close to, right? And learn from. And we're going to be providing that for our practitioners here in the next year, hopefully. So I'm so excited about that.
Oh, I'm a big fan of the mastermind concept. Maybe for those that haven't really been a part of one or understand it exactly, like what's your vision for the mastermind?
So my vision is to, Reed. So Reed is our founder and CEO, and the experience that Reed has in this space is really unparalleled. So to someone like that, and then Reed's kind of next level, practitioners that he's trained personally, we're kind of allowing our practitioners to look up to those people to get this one-to-one training, to get a peek behind the curtain, as it were, to what made those people successful. What was their drive? What was their passion? What principles did they live their life by? How did they make money? How do they handle their clients? So it's going to be this, unfettered access to people who've been super successful in this relatively new field. So I think that's really going to be a powerful intervention for our practitioners.
It's exciting. So Jennifer, if somebody's watching this and they want to learn more about FDN or to connect with you and your team in general, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yes. If you search up functional diagnostic nutrition on Google, we are the top hit. It's lot mouthful. It's a lot of syllables, but you can also type in FDN or FDNP, and that should take you right to the functional diagnostic nutrition website. You actually get a peek inside the course for free. We give you some of our lessons if you sign up to, get on our newsletter, where you actually start, you can immerse yourself in this next level training and really start to see what all the fuss is about. So I'd encourage you guys to do that if you're at all interested.
Fantastic. And we'll put all that information down in the show notes so that our audience can just click on it and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time listening to a Mission Matters episode or engaging with the platform, we're all about bringing on mission-based entrepreneurs, executives, and experts and having them share their vision, their mission, why they do what they do, how they're doing it, and, what can we all learn and gain together as on this shared experience to get better together. That's the type of content that sounds interesting or motivating to you, hit that subscribe button, because we have many more mission-based individuals coming up on the line and we don't want you to miss a thing. And Jennifer, so much fun finally having you on this show. Thanks again for coming on. It's really been a pleasure. Thank you.
I had a blast. So good to connect with you, Adam. Thanks for having me.